Hi friends, welcome to Parent Cafe Live. Today we're going to talk about how we get our kids to be contributors in the home so we get them to want to do chores. Ooh, I haven't quite gotten there yet, but I think it depends on the day, because all of my son's chores he pretty much chose and they're all age appropriate, but some days he'd rather watch TV or do something, so I think it's not necessarily that he doesn't like his chores. He just doesn't understand that we have to do things that aren't always fun in order to enjoy the things that are fun. So that's a lesson we're building there. So I want to ask you guys a question. So how do you frame chores in your house? Do you use chores as a punishment? Is chores reward, like a reward system where they get an allowance or earn money for specific tasks? Or is it just a part of contributing to daily life in your family? I don't think there's any wrong answer. I'm just curious on what you guys do. We kind of do a mixture of them. So our son gets an allowance and he just has chores. So he gets his allowance as long as he's getting good grades and doing well at school. So that's kind of where we have those go. They're not a direct connection to his chores. And then his chores are a part of helping our family. We all have to contribute in order to have good, fun family time. And then sometimes he has a little bit of additional chores where he could earn some extra money if we had a big task or something. We haven't done a lot of that because he's only 5, so most of those tasks he's too little for still. But he would get extra money for those. And then for a long time, we just started budgeting chore money or allowance before we had decided what we were doing, and we had just put it into a savings account for him. And then this year when he started kindergarten, we transferred all that money into a college fund for him, and then now he's getting his allowance and he gets to pick how much he saves and goes in the bank and how much he wants as spending money. So we kind of are trying to teach him what it means to have money and all of that. So if however you're using allowances, or if you are, just keep in mind that's an extra thing you can be doing. So you can again make a visualization for chores. So if you had like a poster board or another tin tray or whatever you wanted to use, you can have pictures. So ways to be helpful. So we're trying to instill in our kids how to look for things to be helpful. So think of some small tasks that your child can do that are age appropriate, and there's lots of age appropriate lists that are free out on Pinterest. You're not going to be out like having a 2-year-old take out your garbage, right? But they could help sort socks. They can help pick up the floor before you vacuum. They can put their toys away. You can have them put stuff on the counter and help. And then as they get older, they can take on some different tasks. So things that are helpful to you, like what is something they've done that is helpful already? My son loves to put silverware on the table, and we learned that from another friend that kid was doing. I was like, oh, that is something he could do. And we asked him and he was like, oh, I'm all over that. I get to help with dinner. And so he was really excited. And he does have that sense of worth that he's contributing to our household. And I don't know, you just kind of see a little gleam in his eye, because we all thank each other for what part we participated in for dinner that evening. And he's always got such a big proud smile, and I love it. So Conscious Discipline has another printable. So they have images, family job examples, like take out the recycling, help mom cook, make their bed, vacuum a room, set a table, take trash out, 20 minutes of reading, complete schoolwork, walk dog, put laundry away. And then you can always make your own too. So they have this little thing where you could draw, but it really wouldn't be hard to create your own little tabs. So if you already kind of have set chores, there's lots of cool like chore lists you can buy, or you just make your own. And you can do that with like lamination and stickies and Velcro and like bazillion ways you can do it, right? So we often underestimate our kids' ability and their willingness to comply with chores. So you just have to find things that kind of already interest them. And as you do frame it as they're contributing to the house, it does help. It makes it seem less like a job that's all of theirs and we put the whole burden on them, right? So I have to usually explain, well, I do the dishes and I do the grocery shopping and I do the cooking and I clean the house for the most part. And we all have things like dad does the outside and dad takes out the garbage and dad does like a million things too, right? And so it helps your child see that you're doing things too. So maybe you set up a specific time on the weekend to do housework where everybody's doing some of it. And it can be fun. It can be bonding time. You can turn on music when it's time to do that. And you can set up a routine for your day so they know that the expectation is like in the morning before you leave for school, you have this, this, and this to do. And as soon as you get home, I want you to check on their water and food for the animals, or, you know, whatever you want to do. It's just stuff. I think it's easier for him to do the ones that where he's helping take care of an animal. He gets a lot less frustrated with that chore. And like with the dinner time, he'll help. But there's other helpful things like putting their own plates in the sink, rinsing them off if they're big enough to do that. Putting all of their toys and towels up after bath time. Just things where you're not picking up after them. So we're teaching them to pick up after themselves, and they don't know how to do that unless we tell them. And if we assume it's just going to be a fight or going to be hard to do, like they just get used to us doing it, and it's not really their fault. They don't see that as like being rude or lazy or anything like that. They're just like, oh, mom's taking care of me, great, and they're on their happy little way. So it's up to us to kind of build this, I don't know, culture of helping in our home. So think about a time you really helped somebody. How did that make you feel? It feels pretty good, right? Like when we get to give something of ourselves and help somebody, or maybe it didn't seem like that big of a deal, but it was a big deal to them, and it felt really great that it was meaningful to somebody else. So you're giving that to your child as well. So as a contributor, they're going to get that good feeling. It also, we have like a reward center in our brain. So whenever we're doing that, it's like a reward. We're getting a loving treat, right? Like a good job treat. So we build value, helpfulness, contribution, and responsibility. So we're getting all of those things in our brain that we have done well. And then, like, why wouldn't we want to give that to our kids? So the next question is, have you witnessed this in your child? So have you witnessed in any of the things that they've done that has been helpful to you? Have they been happy? Were they kind of like, okay, whatever? My kid gets all kind of like bashful and cute. Like he's just like, oh, I'm so glad I helped you. I feel so good inside. You know, so just kind of pay attention to see that. And a lot of that's going to come from the way we respond to things as well. So let's see. The responsibility piece. So ownership of a chore and having responsibility within the home is a big deal, because sometimes kids struggle with the fact that like we are the matriarchs in our household, right? So we're the dictators and they're the little peons and we just boss them around all the time. Even though that's not what's happening, they just have the lens that they have. So when we go about creating chores and creating this cultural helpfulness, they start to believe the house is theirs and they want to respect it and they're gonna help make it run smoothly, and it's all a family unit. So we're Team Zimmerman in our house. That's what we always say. So what kind of team are you guys gonna be? That's an important one. So when you're making your board or your book, if they really need those visuals, especially younger, sometimes maybe it's just a choice. Like you can say, okay, pick one of the things out of the helpful list, and they'll pick that and put it on the board where they want to do it. So think about some household tasks that your child is interested in. And I want you guys to write those down. So take a second, grab a piece of paper, and jot down a few things that your kid already does or has asked to help with. And it might not be something you really ever thought was helpful, but now that you're thinking about it, you're like, wow, It's really nice that he does do that. Or, I should let him try. I was worried he couldn't do it, but he really wants to, so let's see if we can't see what part of it he can do. So you want it to be something that they can actually complete, because we all know what that feels like if we take on something that's too difficult, if, it's the opposite effect of what we want. So making sure they have the ability to do it. So lifting a 30-pound garbage bag into a garbage can that's 3 feet over their head is not something they're really going to be able to complete. And that's okay. So just find things that will work. Next question. So the same thing on this pen and paper. Let's think of ways we want the house to run. So these are more like respectful things. So do we want our kids to say please and thank you? Do we want our kids to ask before they grab a snack, or ask before they grab a juice or a soda or something? Little things like that. So you're setting boundaries in your house that are healthy, and it makes us less frustrated and them less frustrated. So let's check our list. Is it doable? Is it a timely thing? Is it safe for your child to do? So those are the big things. Or do you need to break it down into a few steps? Because remember, we talked about those routines and how we need visual reminders. And so if this task is a little bit bigger, this might be something we need to create a visual routine for. So, do you guys think you can be a house of contributors? A team unit to help daily life function so you can enjoy some more family time together? Life is super fast paced and we could use a little help, and our kids like to feel useful. So let's give them some opportunity to do that. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Look forward to seeing you again. Please subscribe to our channel, click the little bell so you can get notifications for our new uploads, and stay tuned for our next mini lesson. Thanks and have a great day.